Gemini family, thank you so much for tuning in to the channel. If you're new, it's Romy Wyser here, and if you're a returning subscriber, then thanks so much for coming back. This is your July 2020 tarot card reading. My readings are general, designed to give you intuitive insights for your own soul journey. If the reading resonates, you can also join me for the extended version, where there are details in the description box underneath the video or over on my website, romywyser.com. Gemini, you might also like to check out your rising and moon sign for a more comprehensive overview of the energies this month. So let's take a look, see what's coming out for you. Okay, Gemini family, we're into Cancer season in July. Let's take a look and see what this energy story is looking like. So Mercury also turned retrograde in the sign of Cancer, and being your ruling planet is impacting you. Really, I think what we're looking at as we move through a very spiritual month is how the way that you're changing and evolving is helping you to reflect on how past issues have perhaps impacted your ability to really be yourself. Because what we're seeing now is this whole new level of self-expression. Your self-esteem, your courage, your confidence, and really your identity is going through a really beautiful change. We open up your reading. This is a new deck, the Painted Tarot, that I've just received. So this opening card for you for the month of July is the card of the World. Now the World is also ruled by Saturn, and on July 1st, Saturn, which is already retrograde, actually moves from Aquarius back into Capricorn until it comes direct again later this year. So we're going to be working with themes of this Capricorn energy in July for you. And for Gemini rising, remember this was through your 8th house. So these deeply profound, transitional, transformational times that are really kind of turning you from the inside out into this new version of yourself. So there's so much learning and growth taking place, but I love that the World is coming in as this point of culmination in your journey as well. So what you should be recognizing through July is that you have come to the point of being able to celebrate an accomplishment over something. You know, we have an ending and a point of completion, but there's also some really positive news coming in, and I feel like your energy is in this very expansive kind of frequency at the moment. And you know, the theme that I'm kind of picking up as we move through July for the Gemini energy is very much about like having to discern between these sort of two extremes. One is a very kind of softly approach, right, where we might find ourselves kind of just quietly sitting, waiting, reviewing, and just taking time before we decide to communicate or take action. And then at the same time, this very assertive, very focused, very driven, and quite challenged energy that is going to be required at certain moments through the month, when you're going to need to either stand up for yourself, to really express how you feel, what you need, what you want. And that's really going to help to show you, where we look at this whole idea of your value, of your identity, of the way that you're expressing yourself, the changes that have actually been taking place. And sometimes we're not really fully recognizing kind of the journey that we're taking and how much it's actually allowing us to step into more. And it's only when we come up against different situations and experiences that we then can take a moment and actually realize the progress that we've made. So here we have the 8 of Cups, and I think that, you know, this makes a lot of sense to me, because I think in many ways, from an emotional perspective, and remember we're in Cancer season, so everything is about feeling our way through the month, sensing our way through the month, you know, kind of making time to kind of really reflect and understand what our emotional body is trying to show us and teach us and reveal to us. So 8 of Cups is about you moving away from something, allowing something to be released in your life. I do think there's a tremendous amount of reflection. You know, we've got all of these planets retrograde right now, and so there is almost like a necessary time that you have to carve out through this month of July to understand where you've been, to make sense of where you're going, okay? what I feel is that in taking what I think is going to be quite a bold decision at some point in July, okay? And remember, you might be coming to this reading very early on, maybe, when it's just come out at the end of June. So make sure you're going to revisit later in the month of July to see how some of these things might feel more resonant and make more contextual sense to you. But what we see is you coming to a point of making a really big decision about something in your life. And it's the way that it's being delivered to me is that I think something is actually going to end up being proved to you as soon as you have made that decision. Okay, that's what it feels like. So it's almost like the universe then wants to validate your intuitive feeling about a particular kind of decision or choice or action that you need to take. What I really love about the depiction of the Eight of Cups in this particular deck is just the sense of freedom and almost like the way she's dancing with this whole idea of the journey that she's on. And you can see the bird that's kind of illuminated in front of this beautiful, profound full moon. And so there is something about liberating yourself, freeing yourself, and almost like creating space for that expansion to come in. Now we've got a beautiful full moon in the sign of Capricorn, which is another eclipse. So it's deep in eclipse season right now, which of course we understand brings in profound change. This particular lunar eclipse has a beautiful trine with Uranus, so it brings about some very positive, somewhat unexpected and even exciting changes. Okay, so be prepared for that. I think it's going to deliver some really interesting conversations for you, Gemini. I think you're going to be hearing things that you didn't expect to. I think you're going to be coming into contact with people that perhaps are, quite outside of your immediate social circle or the type of people that you would normally socialize or connect with through work. And I think that's all going to be really important in helping you to kind of progress on this new sort of chapter that we see unfolding. So the Knight of Cups coming in here could be a water sign, a Cancer, a Pisces or Scorpio. But what I'm going to take from this is that it's also about the way that because you are creating space in your life, because we have this deeply spiritual kind of undertone that's kind of helping us move forward in July with a sense of flow, you're identifying those areas of your life that you're ready to fall back in love with. And maybe as we revisit some of the things that were kind of on our mind at the beginning of the year, remember that full moon in Capricorn is a point of culmination from the new moon earlier this year. And so, what has happened? What has changed since that time? Well, obviously we understand on a global sense, a lot has changed, but how does that reflect and mirror what's going on within you, Gemini? That's what is really important as you move through this month and this idea of returning home to the self. Now, of course, from a relationship perspective, we do see again that something may be coming to a point of completion or culmination. You may decide to walk away or leave a relationship in the wound-to-wound energy, ready to move forward with a new perspective and a new commitment and a new standard for yourself and for that relationship. So perhaps there's somebody new coming in, or if you are in an existing relationship, an opportunity to take it to the next level. The Knight of Cups for me, very emotional, and there is this sense of real charm as well that I'm getting through with this particular energy today. So some of you may be really on the charm offensive. You may find that actually the way that you're able to communicate and express yourself, particularly after Mercury goes direct on the 12th, I think that's going to free up communication and your thought forms, certainly, but also just the people that you're coming into contact with. Okay, but there is something really important about you really intuitively understanding the right time to speak up or the right time to connect. It's just like this deeper sense of knowing. I have an idea, Gemini, that honestly some of you may be seeing things before others. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like you're picking up a vibe, you're picking up a trend, you're picking up what something means, or you're getting the measure or the level of somebody, and so you're a little bit ahead of the game. But I don't see you necessarily like needing to step up and kind of share that information. There's something about sort of keeping that quiet counsel as you really decide what your priorities are. Yeah, and I think it's important as we're moving through July that you are starting to think about the bigger picture, because what I also feel is that some of the themes that are going to be coming up for you this month, right, are very much going to be on your mind when we come into the end of November, December time, okay, as we have that lunar eclipse in Gemini and the big solar eclipse in Sagittarius. Obviously, we're working with these nodal energies with the Gemini Sagittarius that's really impacting you. So Page of Wands, so it is this creative expression. It's the understanding of which direction you want to take, and maybe in July things are moving, you know, just really step by step. You know, it's just about understanding what the next logical step is for you in the process of, you know, wanting to attain something in your life. You know, maybe it's about finally being in a position where you're going to start to save to buy a new home, or where you're really going to make the choice that you want to put yourself back out there to meet somebody new, or to put the time into your family or your marriage, or, you know, existing friendships if you've maybe been isolated or separated, or changes that you want to make in and around your work. Whatever it is, I feel like you're making a commitment to yourself this month. And that Page of Wands is giving this beautiful sense of exuberance, of energy, of enthusiasm, to want to do that, to want to kind of better yourself, to want to further yourself, yeah? And as we have that beautiful romantic kind of visionary quality of the Knight of Cups, I think it's a really win-win, beautiful kind of synergy of energy, where not only have you got the motivation and the enthusiasm, you've also got a really beautiful vision to back it up. So for some of you, you're going to be able to create great things from that. But remember, it doesn't have to all be done at once. This month we also have, you know, some interesting astrological transit. The Sun is opposing Jupiter on the 14th, and then the Sun opposes Pluto on the 15th. So I think there are going to be a couple of challenges that we need to navigate. You may well have to stand up for yourself. You may well need to show a side of yourself that, you know, you might not be particularly comfortable with. You know, maybe it's not something that you're overly used to. Maybe you don't like conflict, you know, maybe you don't like having to justify. We have Two of Swords here, and it does bring about some sense of indecision or uncertainty, maybe momentarily some doubt around a particular situation, okay? But what I need to say to you is that you must trust what you are seeing for yourself, okay? That may well mean that you have to disappoint or let someone or some people down. That may well mean that you're going to make some unpopular choices or decisions. You know, what you decide to let go of or move away from, people might not fully understand, but that is really not anything that you are going to be able to be fully in control of, because the vision that you have is the thing that is going to guide you forward. And remember, when we talk about this idea of you really being able to work at a very deep soul level about how so many of the experiences that you've been through on your own unique journey have impacted the way that you were able to show up in your life. And, you know, what we're doing now is bringing so much healing into that. So where there have been times where, you know, you've been apologetic in that energy, you haven't really stepped into your greatness, you've not really allowed yourself to demand the kind of love or the kind of respect or the kind of recognition or, you know, whatever it's showing up for you. I think there's an awful lot of acceptance and reconciling that is going on deep within you. And then as we move into Leo season, beautiful third house energy, completely rewiring how you think about yourself. That's what we're moving towards. And it's such a beautiful kind of awakening that I see coming for you. And then card of justice. So what's happening, it's completely rebalancing what your life looks like. Your priorities are changing, which means you're going to be making very different decisions. And those decisions are going to bring about some really beautiful, healthy, positive, expansive opportunities, okay? Now, card of justice also links into Libra, a fellow air sign. So maybe we are dealing with a Libran energy, perhaps somebody who is stepping forward with some sort of proposal or offer to you. Again, there's a little bit of indecision or uncertainty, a choice to make, shall we say. And I do think you should expect, Gemini, through the month of July, that at some point you are going to feel deeply conflicted over something. Okay, that's what I pick up. There will be something that arises that's going to make you feel that sense of, I'm really unsure about making this choice. I feel I know the direction I want to go in, but perhaps you're just thinking about too many external influences or the impact that it's going to have in different areas of your life. But sometimes we just need to kind of pull ourselves up, and we just need to take that really big, bold move, and we just need to trust. And actually with that card of justice, what it's saying is that not only is this going to be in your favor, but karmically speaking, it is time. It is time. And here we have the card of the Fool coming in that is inviting you to step into that possibility. Okay, so there is going to be a deeper kind of pooling energy that I feel you're going to tap into with this very beautiful spiritual feeling through July, and even with the kind of backdrop of all of this retrograde energy of the eclipse. And of course, some of you might be experiencing some pretty significant life changes because of what is happening with that. But even then, on the 12th, we have this beautiful sun trining Neptune, and it's really helping you to look at your spiritual growth. And I think that the Fool is going to come in and give you the confidence that you need to step out, okay? There's something very independent that's coming forth with the Fool. And I do see that some of you, Gemini, are really wanting to gain that sense of freedom. You are looking to move away from any situations that are feeling really restrictive and heavy around you. And I think you're getting bolder. I think you're getting bolder about what you want for yourself and what you believe is possible. And that's going to be a really beautiful unfolding for you. There's just this sense of planning for something much bigger to come, as we move towards the end of the year. And I think that a lot of the little signs and the things that start to be on your mind as you wake up in the morning are what you need to be paying attention to. Okay, so 10 of Wands coming in, I guess, is a nod just to not allow yourself to be too burdened or too overwhelmed with perhaps all of the information that's landing, or all of the ways that people are kind of wanting to gain your attention or have you support them, or wanting to kind of align with you. I just have this sense of you trying to kind of split your energy, like chop it up into so many different pieces. Or maybe the idea of this vision is so great and so bold for you that even that in and of itself feels like a really big ask, And if we have something that you feel like you're trying to move away from, and you haven't yet either quite got the strength of mind, the strength of heart to be able to do, or perhaps fiscally speaking, materially speaking, you're not quite ready to do that. And so again, it just feels like the current situation is just like is putting a lot on your shoulders. Again, know that there's this shift, there's this change coming, and it's really important that we allow for the planning to start to come in here. We've got cards that are coming through that are really talking about a point of culmination, a point of coming to the end of something, the end of a cycle. And you may well be tired with that. You really might be. But you are set to receive some beautiful new energies to help support you. If it's about relationships, Gemini, I think some of you are set to see some really powerful transformations taking place, or certainly like that you're going to see yourself moving on or moving out of something. Another 10 coming through here, 10 of Coins, Pentacles, and there's something about this sense of security, but it's rising up from within you really beautifully this month, Gemini, and it's going to be reflected in the external, So in Cancer season, as we work with that, how we hold value within ourselves, the more strongly we become aligned and centered to that, and our frequency matches that set point, then opportunities for abundance to flow into our life must happen. You know, it's karmic. It's that karmic balancing where you need to start receiving what you are vibrating. So hold that as your vision. I also see you starting to feel that you want to have that support around you. Okay, so even though there's this need for independence, you're also looking at what soul family can really do to help you feel more balanced in your own life. You know, it's not all work, no play. It's not about kind of, you know, being with a particular set of people and not feeling like you can grow and expand and breathe. So there's also something about needing to be more open to the idea of working with others, being more open to the idea of connecting with different types of friends, of kind of exploring new ways to work, new ways to communicate. I also think for some of you, there may be some really important family decisions that are going to be on the table through this month of July. Again, it might not be the time where everything gets put into motion, but I think there's definitely a recognition that something has to change, or perhaps that eclipse season's brought something up that sort of demanded that, you know, that you now respond to a kind of change that's already happened. I mean, obviously this Two of Swords kind of right at the centre of your reading does really suggest that the backdrop is about this important choice and decision. But remember what I said, that's this balance between the kind of softly at some moments and then kind of knowing that there will be times that you have to stand up and speak and express yourself. If you stay too quiet, you could end up in a situation where other people are going to decide what's best for you. And that's just not a place that you are going to thrive or that you're going to feel good about yourself or your progress at all, Gemini. So make sure you are speaking up in terms of what you want. And that's really important, I think, as well, when we're looking at those of you in relationships or seeking new relationships, you know, again, all attached to this idea of your value. So just going to go ahead and pull some oracle cards to see how this reflects your reading. Okay, 7 deadly sins, humanity's destructive traits. I mean, I think what's interesting as, you know, we look at the eclipse energies and they reveal the light and the shadow. And then I guess if we look at the context of what's happening in the collective at the moment, there's an awful lot of really ugly aspects to humanity coming to the surface right now, but that's really important. We need to clear away so much of the negativity. We need to make space for a different way of being, for this unity consciousness, for the opportunity to come together. But part of that work is understanding and embracing and accepting that we all have this light and shadow, and that we can work with that so that we don't feel that in any way we are superior or we're better, or, you know, it's just about accepting like where you need to change, where there are aspects to yourself that do require more quiet contemplation, more inner work. And it's also about understanding where we sabotage ourselves. And I think this is going to be a really important theme that's also going to surface for you in July, Gemini. So where things are starting to move, where you do see visions or ideas, where you are understanding your true value, and that's helping to change in terms of the way that you're showing up, don't then allow yourself to look back and fall back into old ways of thinking. And that's so easy to do, particularly when connections come back into our life, or we find ourselves having to perhaps go back into the workplace or back to a sense of like our old life or normality. And all of a sudden we just get kind of really bogged down and weighed down with all of the more negative aspects of that. So we're, you know, from a frequency perspective, we're really dimming down all of that beautiful, vibrant work that we've been doing. So just be really mindful and aware of where you might be sabotaging your own progress. You know, be deeply compassionate and working with yourself in a kind and loving way through July. You know, there are going to be challenges, there are going to be conflicts in terms of the way that you're feeling emotionally. But that doesn't mean that you need to go back. This is a time to break free a lot of these patterns. So your astrological card is the air element, communicating, which of course is perfect for you as an air sign. And I think, again, it's just about reminding you that it's important to tell people how you feel and what you think, but also to be really honest with yourself in that as well. I also see that you're going to have some really interesting, innovative ideas to share. So from a business perspective, from a career perspective, or whatever you're doing in that area of your life, maybe even if it's just new projects or initiatives or hobbies that you're starting or picking up back up. I think there's some really divine inspiration that's coming through that's going to show you a completely different way. Remember, we talked last month a little bit about how working with Gemini in the North Node is about you being able to see way ahead in the future and really starting to come up with some profoundly interesting innovation that can help in so many different areas. So know that kind of spirit are working with you to deliver these ideas, and trust in how they're coming through, and that actually if you're receiving them, you're meant to share them, Gemini. You know, this is something that the collective needs. So, you know, part of that is about you kind of taking on that role and working with others to be able to share. So your oracle card here is activated earth, power places, ley lines, trust where you're being led. Yeah, I guess just really a reflection of what we've just talked about, the fact that you are being guided very strongly right now. I think it's also important that you take time to ground your energy and find those places that actually really give you some sacred peace and some sacred energy, you know, whether that's somewhere in nature or just somewhere that you create within your own environment to recharge you. I think you're going to need that, particularly if some of this energy of, you know, the Ten of Wands is just making things feel a little bit heavy at times through the month. But this is going to help you kind of lock into that beautiful column of white light that's coming down from Spirit here. It's going to recharge you powerfully. Okay, and I'm recording this just around the solstice energy, which kind of makes me drawn into, you know, this particular image here. And that's all about rebalancing, right? And we've got that card of justice coming in as well. So definitely wanting you to look at those areas of your life that are ready for change and ready to feel more in harmony with what's happening on the inside and how you're changing. Okay, Gemini, so I'm going to go ahead and pull us some additional cards for the extended reading. If you've enjoyed this, please make sure you're subscribed, drop me a like and a comment. And if you want to join me for the follow-up reading, it's about another 20 minutes or so. We'll go into this reading in a little bit more detail and pull out some additional messages for you. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, obviously this is a general reading that we've given. If there's a specific question that you have that I haven't answered, please think about that now. I'm going to go ahead and pull us a couple of cards on that, so we can go into that in the extended. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and clarify these main cards now. So beginning with the card of the World, we have another 10 of Pentacles coming in. And the Star. Okay, beautiful. Star obviously linking into the sign of Aquarius as well. I just think something that you've been hoping and wishing for, set to see coming to fruition. Queen of Swords here, of course, could be yourself or a Libra or Aquarian energy. But I think with that card of the World, and she almost looks like she's sat on top of the world here, it's really just the way that you're looking out to the future now. Okay, another card of the World coming in here with the 8 of Cups. Beautiful sense of positivity. Rebirth coming in here with the card of Judgment and Temperance. Okay, Knight of Cups and the Page of Pentacles. Definitely an offer coming your way, Gemini. Could be an earth sign here that we're dealing with as well. Indecision around this. Definitely a choice to make connected to this. You're going to have to trust yourself. Page of Wands, 3 of Cups. Community, soul family being important, but something to celebrate for you as well. We'll look at that in more detail. Another card of the Fool. Page of Cups. Chariot. Nice. King of Pentacles. Who are you moving forward with? Sun. Card of Justice bringing in the 6 of Swords. There's a feeling of you having gotten through the worst in some area of your life, Gemini. Card of the Lovers, that's your card, Gemini. Nice to see it coming up in this July reading for you. Card of Strength with that Ten of Wands. That's nice to see. So regardless of how much you have going on and what it is that you need to deal with, you're absolutely being given the strength. Could also be a Leo that we're dealing with here with the Sun and the strength coming through. Card of the Emperor. We talked about family issues, perhaps something connected to father or husband here. Okay, I'm just going to pull a couple more for these oracles. Lots of security coming through here. I think you're going to be given the ideas or the opportunities, or you will actually start to see the changes that are coming in terms of material and financial stability. Okay, Gemini, thank you so much for tuning in. Going to wish you infinite bright blessings for this beautiful month ahead. I look forward to joining you on the extended, and you can find that in the description box underneath the video. Take good care. Bye for now.